Hey, welcome to our Monday afternoon live broadcast. Today is December the 10th. Today we are going to be discussing yo-yo exercising, and can yo-yo exercising keep you from getting the results that you are hoping for with your exercise routine and or maybe some things that you are doing in your life nutritionally. So welcome. If you are new, my name is Dy Ann, and for the past 25 years I have been helping women find nutrition plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life. I am a certified exercise nutrition coach and also a certified running coach. We talk a lot about yo-yo dieting, but we don't really talk a lot about yo-yo exercising and what can happen if we find ourselves in this sort of routine of starting and stopping exercise goals. Now, if you're in my goal setting course, we're going to work on setting goals to make sure we don't fall into this. And we talk a lot about it in our intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, as well as our fasting, feasting, and fitness course as well. And how time and consistency are really those two things that we need to think about when we are creating change for ourselves, especially when that change has to do with our health, wellness, and overall well-being. When we start and stop things abruptly, and oftentimes what happens with nutritional changes and with exercise routines is that we go into it full force and then we exit it with the same full force. So we go in, we go all in, we give it 110%, we exhaust ourselves, we beat our bodies into the ground, and then one day we just quit. And what that does to our bodies is just send it into this shock mode, not knowing what to expect. Not so surprising statistics, but always kind of disheartening, is that 2/3 of the health and wellness or exercise goals that are currently being set, and all the New Year's resolutions that are going to magically work on, January 1st of this new year, will fail. And they'll fail within the first couple of months. And what happens is we go all in January, and this is going to be the year that we get it done, and we're not going to quit this time. And we go into it without thinking about the goals that we need to set and what our big desire for is, or the end goal is for us when we start something like an exercise routine. And if we don't think things through, and we don't consider what is enjoyable to us or what makes us happy or what we're going to look forward to, and we don't consider what our body is going to feel like and the time that it's going to take and the resources that we might need, and are we even doing it correctly, because maybe we don't know how to manage our heart rate, or maybe we don't know how to execute some things properly and we're just following a trend, or we've bought into some emotional reaction that we've had when we're sitting at home, maybe watching an infomercial, and we don't think through the process, is we end up going all in and then we quit. What happens when we go all in and then we quit is we do create that binge purge type of mentality that we often talk about on the nutrition side of things, but we don't ever really think about on the fitness side of things. When we go all in, we create that binge mentality, and we create that over response to exercise and what our body has to do to adapt to that and adjust to that. And then when we decide that it's too much, or something in life happens, or we just don't even like it anymore, or we don't even know why we did it in the first place, or maybe the results aren't coming fast enough, and we purge it and we come to a complete stop, we do create a situation in our body where our body goes into shock because it doesn't know what's happening. We just created this huge demand with what we're creating with our exercise. And then that demand immediately goes away, and our body isn't ready to get rid of what it was needing or what it was supporting with our exercise routine. And so it does end up getting confused. And usually what happens when our body is confused in that type of situation is it goes into survival mode, and it will immediately begin to store fat because it doesn't know when the next binge is going to happen, and it doesn't know where it's going to need some energy reserve to pull from. And so it does what it knows how to do, and it goes into panic mode. and it will preserve your fat for storage in case you decide to go all in again in a few days or in a couple of weeks. This can also cause our metabolism to completely go out of whack as well. Remember, when we exercise, we release hormones. And those hormones, we talk about this a lot in here, that our hormones are always doing this, right? One hormone increasing can cause another hormone to decrease. And what we want to do with time and consistency is get them to act more like this than in big waves of adjustment. So we don't want things to go too far out of whack, because then another hormone is going to go too far out of whack in response to balance things out. So time and consistency does really create this type of environment with our hormones, which is what we want. A slight adjustment because of our body constantly being in a mode where it's, you know, going with the flow and doing what it knows how to do and correcting where it needs to be corrected. And when we immediately stop releasing exercise hormones, boom, we just created that influx of other hormones and we go completely out of balance. This also can cause our metabolism to go out of balance because we don't know, again, where we need to push and pull from. And so your body just starts producing things and reacting in a survival type of mode. Again, thinking about what exercise does as far as the energy expenditure, right? So we go into exercise and we require so much more from our body in the means of just burning calories. And so our body becomes accustomed to that. And if you think about the fact that 2/3 of people who start an exercise routine or start exercise goals at the first of the month and then quit them 3 months later, that was 3 months of a new energy requirement that we just created in our body and our system. And then it immediately goes away. So we have to allow, or your body has to allow again for that adjustment. And that's going to take a couple of months. And so what ends up happening is we think in our mind, oh, it didn't work anyway. And it's not so much that the exercise that you were doing wasn't beneficial to you. It's just that you hadn't done it long enough to actually see the results cement in. So the results are short-lived, and then you put your body into a panic type of situation and you end up usually seeing something that's the absolute reverse of what you were trying to accomplish in the first place. And so we get that mental, mind map of, oh, it didn't work anyways. And then our mind is sending our body these signals that, well, exercise is just not something that, is good for us. And we want to make sure that we are sticking through it long enough, and the time and consistency has its due time in your lifespan, in your exercise routine, to create that mind map and that mental process in our brain that we are actually doing something good for ourselves, and we are going to stick this through regardless of what happens in our life, because the end result is we know we're doing good for ourselves. So we want to make sure that we're creating that good mind map for ourselves. And when our brain can signal to our body that what we're doing is good, because we have this trust relationship, because we're not going to quit anymore, and that is really when you start to see some pretty significant changes with what it is you're doing with your exercise goals and some of the routines that you have for yourself. Another thing that we want to be very cautious about and very conscientious about when we are entering and exiting these exercise goals that we have is that when we're exercising, we just emotionally and mentally feel that we have a little more wiggle room in our nutritional arena. Or if you're in this community and you're fasting and you're feasting, in your feasting window, you're like, oh, I burned off some extra calories, or I put myself into a deeper clean fast because I was fasting long and I worked out, and now I can feast on a little bit more than I normally would because I created this environment that's going to allow me to do that. And what that does is it creates a routine, and it creates a mentality, and it creates habits around what you're doing in your fast and what you're doing in your feast. Well, what happens when we just throw the fitness aspect out the window? We don't renegotiate what it is we're doing in our feasting window. We have these new habits for feasting, and we neglect the fact that we have just given up exercise, and we just gave up that extra opportunity to get in a clean fast, and we continue to eat in our feasting window the same way we did when we were engaging in exercise. So we want to make sure that if you're going to change something on this side, you got to change something on this side as well. So if you're going to change what you're doing in your fasting window, you have to accommodate what it is that you are doing in your feasting window. And then another area that we have to be very, very aware of is the reward system that we have for ourselves. And we talk about this in our intermittent fasting course. We talk about this in our F3 course, and we're going to work on this in the goal setting course that we just started today. And that is, are you setting up the correct reward system for the goals that you are setting up for yourself? So if exercise is your goal and feasting more is your reward because you've earned it through exercise, is that really the appropriate reward system if you're trying to see results? And are there more appropriate reward systems that if you decide that maybe you have to take a break from exercising, you won't sabotage yourself with your own reward system, because the reward system that you have in place makes sense to the goal that you just accomplished. So if you are in that yo-yo type of environment or that yo-yo type of mentality, you have yourself set up just in case, because we do know that life happens. If you have to take a break from exercising because something in life happened, is your reward system going to cause you to feel like you're going, downhill quickly because the rewards haven't met up with what it is that you have planned for yourself? So you want to make sure that you have that in place as well. And then think about it. If you're yo-yo exercising, there has to be some reason that this is happening to you, for the same reason that we have all been yo-yo dieters. And if you've been a yo-yo dieter, put a hand up emoji in the comments section. I was a yo-yo dieter myself. And the reason I was a yo-yo dieter is because I wasn't thinking for myself. I was following someone else's pre-planned nutritional routine that didn't have any consideration for the foods that I enjoy, or any consideration for the demands that my body had for nutrient replacement or survival. And so when it stopped meeting my needs, or the newness and the excitement wore off of it, it was really easy to ditch it and go to the next thing that seemed exciting and totally doable, and then realizing, oh no, it's the same exact cookie cutter thing designed by one person to meet the masses. And we know now that just does not work. The same thing happens when we're looking at exercise goals or fitness goals, is that we think if it comes in a box and there have been before and after pictures showing success, well, then it has to work for me. But it doesn't work that way, because if the exercise routine doesn't meet the timelines that you have, or has too many buy-in features that maybe you're not willing to do, or the commitment to it is not something that you're up to, or the time frame that you have to commit to it is not up to it, or maybe even just the actual activity itself is something that isn't firing you up, then you are going to yo-yo your way in and right back out of it. And so be careful when you're setting up those fitness goals for this upcoming year. You really need to consider all the factors that are going to make you successful. And will this stand the time and the test of time and consistency? And the time frame in which we should be engaging and committed to our fitness routine should be from now till the day we die. We should be exercising and enjoying what we're doing in our exercise routines until the day we die. Like, we should really have a life style and a life routine that's going to keep us active until that day. We want to live till we die is the philosophy we want to live on. And the same thing holds true with our nutrition as well. So the best way to end yo-yo exercising is find something you enjoy doing, make sure it fits into your life, and then stick with it through time and consistency. Yes, you can tweak it along the way. Yes, you want to build in rest days. Yes, life is going to happen, but it's the mentality that we have wrapped around what it is that we are going to commit to and what it is we are setting up for our goals that will ultimately determine our success and keep us out of that yo-yo type of environment where we're going to stop and start and throw our body into complete chaos. If you need help setting goals and clearly defining what it is that you want to do for yourself, I highly recommend jumping into our goal setting course. It just started today, so it's not too late to get in. All the links are provided in the comment section if you guys are interested in that. And then if you're needing some help with your intermittent fasting and developing a routine, again, where you're not going to be stuck into that yo-yo dieter mentality, the marketing for the diet programs and the quick fix things and the cookie cutter programs are going to hit you hot and heavy over these next couple of weeks. Do not fall victim to that. Remember, we are not clones. We are all individual, unique women, and we deserve to figure out food for ourselves and be empowered about the choices that we're making. So don't get yourself caught up in these cookie cutter nutritional plans that work for everyone and these cookie cutter fitness routines that work for everyone. They don't always work for everyone. And the best thing that you can do is figure out what you need for you based on the goals that you have set for yourself. So I'm going to jump on Facebook really quick and welcome everyone and see if you guys have any questions or comments. Welcome everyone who started the goal setting course with us today. Super excited to go through the next couple of weeks for you. And congratulations to my intermittent fasting for today's aging women community. You are starting week 2, which is our intermittent feasting week. The comments and the thoughts that you guys have shared just from being in the course for the first week have just absolutely blown my mind. It's amazing the progress that you guys are making in very short time by just figuring out what food works best for you and some subtle changes that you can make based on the signs and signals that your body is sending you. It's absolutely amazing. And so keep sharing what it is that you're experiencing. I love reading all your questions in our course. Okay, so let's see who's on today. Mary, catching you live in the December IF program. Mary, it's good to have you with us. Michelle, finally catching you live while I wait for my daughter to get off the bus. Oh, that's awesome. And you're picking your daughter up, so that's cool. Sylvia, November IF student. Tanya, hello. Lori, taking the December 2018 course from North Carolina. Diane is here. Let's see, Amy's here. Always good to have you here. Cousin, she has been in several of our courses. Debbie from Virginia, first time watching. Well, welcome Debbie. Make sure you hit that like button and you're set up for notifications so you'll know when we go live again. You were a yo-yo dieter. Yeah, I was a yo-yo dieter myself, Lori. I think it's just how we were trained to think that that's the way we were supposed to feed ourselves. And now we know better. So we definitely don't want to fall victim to that, especially getting caught up in all this hype of everything that's going to be going on with the new year and New Year's resolution. So make sure you're staying very present and very connected to what you want for yourself, and don't think for a second that that there's a quick fix out there, or there's a magic pill, or there is something that's going to work better than something else. You need to take the time to really listen to the signs and signals that your body is sending you and figure out what food means for you, and realize that there's no such thing as bad food. There's just food that's going to make you feel bad, and you should be the only one that determines that for yourself. Amy, I'm excited about the goal setting course. Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I love teaching goal setting. I love sharing goal setting. I have been using the practice of setting goals for myself, I think pretty much most of my adult life, and we've really honed in on it pretty finitely. I would say probably the last 8 or 9 years, and we have a really good system in place that we use. So I'm super excited to share all of that with you guys. And speaking of on YouTube, we just passed 35,000 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. That was one of my goals for this year. So thank you to everyone who subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, definitely make sure you go subscribe over there. That is an area we're going to be focusing on a lot in 2019. But super excited to have each and every one of you here with us, not only only on YouTube, but Facebook as well. But that was a big milestone goal that I had for the end of this year, and we crossed it before the end of the year. So that was super exciting for us to have that happen this weekend. Jan, hello. Rita, thanks for joining us. Shake, hello. Jan, you are welcome. Let's see, all I'm doing is walking for now. Walking is fine. What we want to remember is that you do not have to beat your body into the ground to get results with your fitness, especially when you have your nutrition under control and you're feasting your body intuitively and you're getting rid of inflammation and you're not over consuming food. You don't have to necessarily be an elite runner or an Olympian to get good fitness results. Walking is fantastic. What I do recommend if you are walking is making sure that you wear some sort of heart rate monitor, or you are conscious in what it is through your movement when you're walking, because there's a big difference between walking in the park and a fitness walk. And so you want to make sure that if you are walking for fitness, that you are engaging in that type of movement when you're out for a walk would be the best advice I can give you for walking. But you never want to discount walking. It's great exercise for sure. Danny from the October class, great to see you. And as usual, the topic is right on time. I know, girl, I went through the same thing, and I noticed that when I made the mental and emotional connection with what my body was going through when I was training for my half marathon and how I just wasn't enjoying it, and I had those super long runs, and then I would kind of pull back during the week, I wasn't really seeing the fitness results that I was hoping for training for a half marathon. And when I let that go and just went back to really consistently working on my fitness routine and going back to that training mentality every time I worked out, monitoring my heart rate and staying within moderate exercise levels, the results have been coming back and they have been feeling amazing. So even going too extreme with some training can kind of put you out of that state of seeing the results that you want. And you have to make sure that you're willing to pay or make that sacrifice. And sometimes it's totally worth it. And then other times it might not be. And if you're emotionally and mentally feeling discouraged about what you're doing in your fitness routine, I think you owe it to yourself to go back and evaluate the goals that you're setting for yourself and asking yourself if it's the right goal for this time in your life. And for me, it wasn't. And so as soon as I pulled back, it went back to consistency and back to what makes me feel my best, both or all three, emotionally, physically, and mentally. That's when I started seeing the results again, because I was back into feeling engaged with what I was doing. So you want to think about that as well. Erin, from the current class, I have to get back to work, but wanted to jump on and say hi. Well, Erin, thank you so much, and thanks for jumping on with us while you're at work. This is recorded, so you can always come back and check it later when you're done with work. Rita, love this. So hard not to reward yourself with food and call it good foodies for me, not so good when it's too often. Yeah. And you don't want to sabotage what you just did with your fitness either. So make sure that when you're rewarding yourself, maybe a big glass of water would be a great reward, or maybe just sitting down and doing an extra 10 minutes of stretching or some flexibility work is another great reward too. But we don't think that way. So sometimes you have to change the way you're thinking and how you define a reward. And why isn't stretching a reward? Why is, a margarita a reward, or a donut, or whatever it is that you're rewarding yourself food-wise? Why is that okay to reward yourself, but why isn't 10 minutes of stretching, or maybe a new pair of running socks, or a new headband, or something like that that doesn't have to do with taking away from what you just accomplished? Robin from Chicago, I'm consistent with my workouts, but considering putting it on the back burner because I think I have some healing I need to do. Yeah, and that's fantastic too. I did that when I was going through my healing, and I needed to heal everything on the inside first, and everything that was going on chemically with my body before I could ask more of my body through exercise. And I think that's okay too. It's, again, one of those things, once you make the conscious decision to do that, and the reasoning behind it is something that you can buy into, your body will respond to that. A lot of what goes on with our result is how we're thinking about it. So write it all out, set your goals, reverse engineer it, make sure you have a good system set up in place so that you'll stick to what it is you're saying and really give your body the time that it needs to heal fully. So I think that that's fantastic too. Jan, hello. Let's see, you're loving the, Rita's loving the passion test. Awesome. That's a great book. I love that book. I read it every year this time of year, and it really does keep me inspired and super excited about the year coming up and how to plan my goals. Will Robin email discuss further? I'm graduate. Okay, yeah, just email me and we'll see what we can do to help you out. Rita, yoga and spinning works with my lifestyle these days. Fantastic. Those are both great exercises. Jan, your inspiration is so appreciated. Well, thank you so much. Jan, thanks for being with us. Let's see who else we got here. Cherie from December class, the movement we do depends on the quality of our movement in we are 80 or 90. I truly believe this. Yeah, I believe that too. You know, I always say it's, what is it? Form over speed, I think is what we learned in one of the workout programs we did. You know, form and deliberate movement and making sure you're making the mind to muscle connection. I teach that in our F3 course. You know, just going through the motions and not making that mental connection to what your body's actually doing is like, you know, sitting at the dinner table and, you know, and being on your iPhone or something and not paying attention to the conversation that's going on. You want to make sure that you are making that mental connection to your body so that your body and your mind are on the same page. And that is really where you'll start to see some good results. And then you'll have the emotional and the mental buy-in to have that time and consistency follow through as well. Andrea from McKinney, Texas, well, welcome. Neighbor, Maria from New Jersey, welcome. Kathleen, I'm 63 now and trying to find different exercises. I've been exploring Tai Chi and I walk, but mostly trying to get out of a very long funk. Just doing it even though I dislike it right now. Okay, so I would say for you, Kathleen, what you want to do is think about the end goal, or think about someone that you need to be healthy for. So not so much that you're just going through it even though you don't like it, but change the way you're thinking about it. So are you working out, or are you staying active, and are you keeping your body moving because you want to be physically fit to go on vacation with your spouse maybe? Or do you want to do it so you can be active and energized for your grandchildren? Or are you doing it so that you can stay in tune to the hobbies you have? So you have to think about something else other than the dread of exercising. And when you make it about something outside of yourself, that's when you can really get that emotional buy into it. And you have to be very careful about the words you say as well. So it's not that you have to exercise. No one has to exercise. It's that you have the opportunity to exercise. You can physically get your body up and still ask of it some things that some people don't have the opportunity any longer to do. So be grateful for the fact that you can move, be grateful for the fact that you can participate in exercise, and change the way you speak about it. Because if you speak about it in a positive tone, it'll be a positive experience. If you speak about it in a negative tone or make it a negative experience in your life, then that's exactly what it's going to be. So sometimes we have to just think about what it is we're saying and the words that we're choosing to describe what it is that we are going through. Michael, can you check some of those messages in there that need to be deleted? Okay, so let's see if we have any more Facebook comments in here, and then I will let you guys go. And I decided to get the Audible app. Awesome, Amy. Yeah, the Audible app's the best. And you get free credit. So the cool thing about when you do books on Audible, or you have the monthly membership, is you get a free credit every month. So I just wait for my free credit to come, and then I get my Audible that way. And I usually do a backup between a printed and an Audible. And that way I have no excuses for reading the books that I want to read. So thank you so much for jumping on with us today. If you are a yo-yo exerciser, think about what it is you're doing to your body. Think about what you're doing to your hormones. Think about what you're doing to your results that you're hoping for. And then ask yourself, why are you yo-yo exercising? There has to be a reason. We all know the benefits of exercise. We all know the benefits of consistency. We all know the benefits of time. Why is it that we're allowing ourselves to start and stop so drastically? And can you find something that brings you joy, something that will help you get to that end result? Like I said, maybe thinking about that third person, right? That is, that you're doing it for, so that your life is better when you're with them, and really try to find that joy in it. And I bet you if you take the time to think about it and you write out your goals and you think about what it is that you're wanting to do, maybe not in the moment, but in the long run, you'll be able to end this cycle of yo-yo dieting and then ultimately get the results that you are hoping for. Thanks for jumping on with me today. If you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube and that like button on Facebook. Make sure you're set up for notifications, because we will be doing this again Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks for being here, you guys. Love ya. See you on Wednesday.